So after the Victor Osimhen rumours have begun to simmer down, it's now Viktor Gyökeres' name that has been once again linked with United, with Adam Wharton's name also being suggested as well. And so in this video I'm going to be analysing how Gyökeres and Wharton would transform Amorim's United, whether it's worth signing these two as well as Cunha for such big fees, and also looking at how United could potentially afford it, either through signing a left wing back and a central midfielder for bargain prices, or even selling two fan favourites in order to raise funds for upgrades. But let's start out by analysing both players. So in terms of Gyökeres, I think it's pretty obvious that he would improve the forward line, simply because of his goal scoring output and of course the fact that he would be replacing Højlund. But with Gyökeres, the appeal isn't just his goal scoring, and I'm going to break down his overall game after analysing him statistically. But before I carry on with the analysis, if you want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to dragonjersey.com. They sent me over one of their retro shirts, this Manchester United 2006-2007 long sleeved home shirt with Ronaldo 7 on the back, which may be my favourite jersey of all time, with Ronaldo's performance that season making it even more iconic. They've also got other retro and current season jerseys available, and depending on where you live you can get 7 to 12 day delivery time. If you use code Atlantis at checkout you will get a discount for a limited time, so I'll leave it linked in the description and in the comments section below. So in terms of pure goal scoring output, Viktor Gyökeres' numbers are obscene. This season he scored 38 goals in 30 Premier League games, 6 and 8 in the Champions League, adding up to 52 goals in 48 games in all competitions. And in the Portuguese Premier League, this equates to the top 1% for his non-penalty goals and his non-penalty XG, which he overperforms by 0.22 per 90. Now some people may write this off by saying, well, he's doing it in the Portuguese league, but that's just the league he's playing in. He can't score goals in another league, he just happens to be playing for Sporting. If you put Alexander Isak or Erling Haaland at Sporting, number one, how much better is their goal scoring record going to be? And even then, that wouldn't mean that they aren't elite level strikers simply because they're playing in Portugal. Also, Gyökeres has scored 6 goals in the Champions League for Sporting, and whilst 3 of those did come against Manchester City, of which 2 were penalties, the record is still pretty impressive considering he is playing for Sporting, who aren't exactly one of Europe's top sides. Secondly, Gyökeres isn't a one season wonder, and his goal scoring output has been steadily improving season on season. Last season he scored 29 goals in 33 Premier League games, 5 in 9 in the Europa League and 43 in 50 games in all competitions. The season before with Coventry in the Championship he hit 21 in 46 league games, and the season before that in 21-22, aged 23, it was 17 in 45 games. And so even going back 2 or 3 years, Gyökeres was still one of the leading goal scorers in the Championship. Now from the eye test, some people do say that Gyökeres does look a bit clunky and slow with the ball at his feet, and whilst I can understand the clunky label, like Salah and Haaland, I just think that Gyökeres has an unorthodox technique, because even when watching him play against elite level defenders, what stands out is how composed and assertive he is with the ball at his feet, using his close ball control and physicality to manipulate the ball to work a shooting angle, wherefrom he's got a variety of different finishes in his locker, able to finish subtly in a 1v1 or with firm placement and power. But as I said before, it's not just his goal scoring which is so impressive. As for such a broad and physical centre forward, Gyökeres is very quick when running in behind and down the channels, wherefrom, unlike the likes of Osimhen or Haaland, in a similar way to someone like Liam Delap but to a higher level, he's a very good ball carrier and dribbler, but also a significant chance creator and aerial threat, which we are able to see statistically when we look at his FB ref report. In the Portuguese Premier League this season, he ranks in the top 1% for his progressive carries, carries into the penalty area, XG assisted, expected assists, key passes, alongside the mid-90th percentiles for his passes into the penalty area, successful take-ons, and the percentage of successful take-ons he completes, as well as the high 80th percentiles for his carries into the final third, and the percentage of aerial duels he has won. And even in the Champions League against a higher level of opposition, he still looks pretty impressive, particularly considering the side he's playing in comparison to the competition. The 77th percentile for his non-penalty goals, a 66th for his non-penalty XG, which he overperforms by 0.15 per 90, and he also ranks pretty highly for his chance creation metrics, passes into the penalty area, successful take-ons, and around the low to mid-90th percentiles for his carrying metrics as well. But something that I think is massively underrated when people discuss Gyökeres is his ability to link play with his back to goal under pressure in congested areas in the final third. and this is what I think gives him an advantage in comparison to Osimhen, as whilst Osimhen is definitely more of an aerial threat inside of the box, Gyökeres' close ball control and 1 and 2 touch passing is significantly better, and this is why he was so crucial to Amorim's Sporting side, as simply having Gyökeres as the centre forward allowed Sporting to progress the ball forward in 2 particular ways, either utilising a direct long pass from the defensive third in the build-up phase when under pressure, where Gyökeres was able to move into space, win the physical battle, before then efficiently linking play with runners from the midfield, or against a deeper defensive shape in the middle third, Sporting could look to progress the ball into the final third by feeding incisive passes into Gyökeres' feet through the centre of the pitch despite it being congested, where he was highly efficient at linking play with these 1 and 2 touch layoffs. And so overall, the reason why I think Gyökeres is so valuable as a centre forward and definitely worth between 60 to 70 million pounds is because of how complete his skill set is, as he not only offers clinical finishing but also the ability to create his own chances via his powerful dribbling and ball carrying, as well as his ball manipulation around the box as well. But he also massively aids his side when looking to progress the ball forward from the build-up phase against high pressure or against deeper, more compact defensive shapes, something that I think has been the main issue with United's possession system this season. And like Viktor Gyökeres, I also think Adam Wharton is a player that is worth upwards of £60 million in this market, because of how complete and unique his skill set is. In terms of a creative, deeper line central midfielder, other than Rodri, I would say Adam Wharton and Zubimendi are probably the closest thing in modern football to Sergio Busquets. And it's for 2 fundamental reasons: pass selection and disguise technique, and I think these 2 attributes are maybe the most underrated parts of a central midfielder's game. See, when you watch Wharton play, everything he does looks so efficient, from receiving the ball under pressure with the exact right body shape that allows him to turn and play forward without any unnecessary touches, to his ability to break the lines with incisive forward passes that you don't even see coming until the last second, when he actually connects with the ball, as like Sergio Busquets, Wharton is able to shape like he's going to play in one direction, leading to the opposition players in front of him overcompensating as they look to anticipate the pass before he then plays the pass at a different angle, making his style incredibly unpredictable and difficult for the opposition to anticipate, which makes him a ball progression machine from these deeper areas. And you can see this when you look at his FB ref report from the Premier League this season, where for nearly all of his chance creation and progressive passing metrics, he ranks in either the 80th or 90th percentiles, doing so at a Crystal Palace side who in most games aren't dominating possession, which is also a factor for his surprisingly low short and medium pass volume and completion metrics, even though I do think this is part of his game that he will need to improve, and he will likely develop with experience, but at the moment his willingness to attempt those risky incisive passes is what makes him so good, and it's not just low passes through the centre either, but also longer passes, switching play, or releasing runners in behind the opposition's back line. However, the reason I rate Wharton higher than someone like Zubimendi is because of his athleticism, tenacity and defensive output, as despite being what I would categorise as a kind of regista, sitting at the base of the midfield and like Busquets or Pirlo, being the side's main playmaker and source of ball progression from those deeper positions, he also produces high volume defensive output like a defensive minded ball winner would, such as someone like Ugarte, ranking highly for his dribblers tackled and challenged metrics alongside his interceptions. He's able to cover ground quickly across the pitch and put in robust standing or sliding tackles. However, at the moment, the timing in his body shape when entering 1v1 duels can often lead to him getting beaten fairly often, which is a consequence of being a high volume front foot ball winner, just like we see with Ugarte, and this can be seen with Wharton ranking in just the 7th percentile for the percentage of dribblers he's tackled. However, just like with his shorter passing and his overall ability to dictate the tempo of play, I think over the next few years, this will be a part of his game that he improves with experience, and so Gyökeres and Wharton would offer United something that is both unique and extremely valuable in their respective positions, to a very high level, which is why if the budget was there, I think these 2 would be 2 of my top targets for the summer. However, the issue is the budget and the price tag, because with Matheus Cunha already likely coming in for a big fee, around £62 million, and United may be also needing another left back with greater offensive output in the final third than either Dorgu or one of Amas and Lyon, probably also another athletic and physical central midfielder, just for squad depth if Casemiro and Collier were to leave alongside Eriksen, alongside a goalkeeper replacement for Andre Onana, maybe even a ball-playing central centre-back and a fairly cheap third-choice centre-forward option. And so spending 180 to 200 million pounds on 3 players does look highly unlikely given United's current financial situation. However, my question would be, if United could sell players for relatively high fees and then reinvest that money in Gyökeres and Wharton, would that be worth it? I mean, just think of it this way, Garnacho being sold would allow Cunha to come in as an upgrade, and the same for Højlund and Gyökeres, even though I guess it is a bit different because Gyökeres would likely cost around double what United could get for Højlund. But in central midfield, let's say that Wharton was gettable for around 60 to 65 million pounds, and we had to sell to finance it. Would it be worth selling someone like Ugarte for 35 million pounds, which is around what we would need in order to not make a loss on the books, and using that money for Wharton? Personally, I think it would. I do like Ugarte, I think he's an exceptional counter-pressing weapon to have in the side, but certainly in possession he is quite limited from a ball progression point of view. And for me, in that particular area as well as overall, I think Wharton would be a clear upgrade. Ugarte long term, if we bring in the ideal central midfielders for Amorim's system, I don't think he's going to be a guaranteed starter week in week out, generally being a much better option against the bigger sides where United aren't dominating possession, compared to the majority of the time in the Premier League when United have to break down deeper defensive shapes. Now obviously financially it's not as simple as just sell Ugarte and buy Wharton, but for the sake of this argument, if it was, anyone who's saying that they wouldn't sell Ugarte to bring in Adam Wharton to me is just far too emotionally attached to fairly good players rather than looking at the bigger picture and what is actually going to allow United to move the needle and actually build a title challenging squad. So let me know what you think of Adam Wharton and Viktor Gyökeres in the comment section below. And if you do want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to dragonjersey.com. You can use code Atlantis at checkout for a 10% discount, so I'll leave it linked in the description and in the comment section below. Also, if you want to read any of my articles, you can get a 7-day free trial, or you can sign up to my in-game Instagram group chat, so I'll leave that linked on the end screen now as well.